Can you click? Can you click on it? Okay. Yeah. Now.
Hello, welcome everyone. Sorry for the problem. We had some technical issues. We weren't able to actually go live. We should be live now. Sorry for the waiting time, everyone. And with a slight delay, let's just jump straight into it. Fortunately, you haven't heard me babbling on for about 7 minutes, not realizing nobody could hear me. But sorry for that, and we're now ready to start. First of all, welcome to this webinar. I'll be talking about and presenting the Obyte wallet tonight. It's normally not something you'd see anyone else do because it's just a wallet you need to send and receive payments, and that's basically it. But the Obyte wallet includes a lot of different features, and some of those, even though you've been using Obyte and the wallet for quite some time, I'm sure there'll be several features that you might not have tried or weren't actually aware of existed in the wallet. So for this webinar, I'll be taking you through a guided tour of the Obyte wallet. So hang on, and if you have any questions during my talk, just fire away in the chat. We'll have Fabiola interrupting me because I won't be actually following the chat. So I will be interrupted by Fabiola, who asks the questions, and I'll then try to answer them to the best of my knowledge. So first off, you need to download the wallet, and you should always download it from the official website at obyte.org. It's available for Android, iOS, Mac, Windows, Linux. So you should be fairly well covered unless you have some really exotic operating system, then you're on your own. Once you download it, and I should actually put a disclaimer for the Windows install, the software, the installer isn't signed officially by an official legal entity, and that's because the Obyte platform rebranded into Obyte. So we are actually getting the new code certificate to be able to sign the wallet software. But you shouldn't be afraid of downloading or clicking ignore to the safety warning it might pop up. It's perfectly fine on the other platforms. You basically just click next, 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 and the first time you'll be prompted to make an actual choice is when to decide whether you want a full or a light node. And unless you have very special needs, you definitely want a light node. A full node, it'll consume about 55 to 60 gigabytes of data, and it'll take you 3 to 4 days at least to, on a fairly fast computer, to fully sync your wallet. It basically downloads all the transactions ever made on the Obyte ledger. And unless you have very special needs, that's usually not something you need. So on the mobile devices, mobile platforms, full nodes aren't even an option. You'll just be installing a light node. I would have shown the actual installation process, but it's actually that brilliantly designed that it picks up the language of the operating system it's being installed on. So I'll spare you for showing all the the prompts in Danish, and simply just skip right to the first screen you'll see. It's called Wallet for Micropayments, and it'll show you that you have 0 bytes. You can flip between different currencies. If you receive more currencies, you'll be able to just scroll. You can actually also just drag and drop. On the mobile devices, you can swipe left and right, or you can click these little arrows here. You can also change a bit of some of the settings for your wallet. You can give it a different name, my new wallet. You can change the color. I'll just keep it at Obyte blue. And you can switch between a single address and a multi-address wallet. I'll briefly mention the difference between single address and multi-address wallet in just a little while. I won't go further into details with all the other menus here, but simply just show you this one. And once you have this wallet, you might want to create new wallets. And you do that by clicking the burger menu and simply clicking Add Wallet. And new wallet, you give it a name. And this is where you have to choose whether you want a single address wallet or a multi-address wallet. And to explain it in a way that most will understand, when you have a single address wallet, it's the equivalent of going to the supermarket, pulling out your wallet when you go to the cash register, paying with funds. The change money you get back goes into your same wallet. With a multi-signature wallet, you will have several wallets in your bag. You pull out the money from one wallet, pay the cashier, and then the change you get back, you will grab a new wallet and put it into that. Each wallet, of course, has an address. You should be aware that most of the chatbots, meaning the use cases on Obyte, they will require you to use a single address wallet, because some of the use cases, they need to be able to send you funds back to your address. So if you have a wallet that generates a new address with every transaction, it won't be possible for a chatbot or an autonomous agent to know where to send the funds back. It's not that the funds won't arrive, but you won't be able to trigger the use case from the same address that you previously used. It's not on other platforms where the money is just gone. It still arrives in your own wallet, and you will have access to spend the funds, even though it was sent to an already used wallet. But for the most part, you'll need a single address wallet, so that's what I'll create here. The next thing is a rather important feature. It's about safety. You of course want to keep your funds safe in your Obyte wallet, and one of the best ways actually to do this is to create a multi-signature wallet. And to do so, we first need to pair the wallet, and you do that by clicking the chat button at the bottom, and then you can add a new device. And I could accept an invitation, meaning I would have to scan a QR code or type in a long device address. But since I'm using the webcam for this webinar here, I'll be inviting another, and then I have my mobile wallet where I can add a new device and accept an invitation from another. And I can then use the QR code, and then it will show that I am now paired. It doesn't show very well because of the lighting. But as you can see here, the screen now changed. I can type in the chat. I can say hi. Hi. And one of the things that you should notice about the chat window is this button here. It makes it possible to insert my address, meaning that I don't have to copy paste things all the time. That's quite a good feature. So now when that my two devices are paired, I can go back again and add a wallet. And this time I'll pick the tab called multi-device wallet. And the wallet will be laptop and phone. And I still want it to be a single address. And this is quite interesting here. I do have now two paired devices, but if I had 3, 4, 5 different devices paired, I could choose how many of them I wanted to be part of this wallet. But since I only have 2 devices right now, I have a total number of cosigners of 2. The required number of signatures, this is the amount of signatures required to spend from this wallet. So when I send transactions or sign messages and stuff like that, I can define whether I would like it to be fine with just one signature, meaning that I can operate this wallet from either device, or I can say I want, for increased security, if I lose my smartphone, for instance, and someone wants to try to transfer all my bytes away, they wouldn't be able, because if I set this number to 2, it will require me to confirm the transaction on the other device. So I'll just briefly show. I can select the cosigners, punctured mobile, that's mine, the device that I just paired, and I create the wallet. On my other device, I'll now be prompted, asked to confirm whether I want to create this wallet. And I accept it, of course, and type in the password for my wallet. And as soon as I do that, bingo, success, wallet and laptop phone is ready. And I now have a new wallet called laptop and phone, which is a two of two wallet, meaning that both devices needs to verify or accept the transactions made from this wallet. In the wallet settings, you'll find another really important features. It's the wallet backups. And all the settings are accessed through this burger menu. And in the settings, you'll have a lot of different settings, a device name. You can see the main hub that I'm connected to. If I wanted to connect to the hub through the Tor network, I can enable that. Of course, I can't just enable it. I need to have a Tor client running, a Tor browser running. So if I enable this without having an actual client, the wallet wouldn't be able to connect. So only switch this on if you know what you're doing and you do have a Tor client running. Also, I can change the language in the wallet. Currently, the Obyte wallet is translated into 23 different languages. And since the wallet is constantly being updated and improved and new features added, not all languages will be 100% translated. But most languages are almost complete. I can set the unit for bytes. I can choose whether to show the amount of bytes I own in kilobytes or megabytes. I can just set it to kilobytes, and the unit for black bytes, the other native currency as well. Trusted node, order providers, etc., etc. I'll just skip through that. Device address, skip through that. Spending restrictions. Yes, I would like to require a password. Now have set a password for my wallet. And then the most important part of the settings is the backups. You'll always want to at least once do a full backup. The wallet will actually prompt you. If you haven't made a full backup once you receive funds the first time, it will prompt you to create a backup. And in most other platforms, you'll be familiar with the seed words. On the Obyte wallet, I'll highly advise against just using the seed words. It will enable you to restore all the bytes you have on your wallet address, and you'll be able to restore any sub wallets you have, or if you have a multi-address wallet, the bytes on all of those addresses will be restored. But if you have any black bytes, if you have any smart contracts, if you have paired devices, anything else wouldn't be able to be restored only using the seed words. And you get actually a prompt telling you, beware, you won't be able to restore everything if you just use the seeds. So always use backup all wallet data. It'll create a file. You can set a password for the file, making it rather safe to store it on Google Drive or wherever you want to store it. Send it in a mail to yourself to keep it. Once it's encrypted with the password, it's impossible for others that don't know the password to use the backup file. And that's basically what I'll be showing about the settings here. So let's go back to the wallet. Sending and receiving bytes. This is probably the most regularly used feature of any wallet. And in the Obyte wallet, there's actually quite a few things to take note of. Usually you just have the option to send your currency to an address, and that's it. The Obyte wallet, however, has several features making it quite interesting. If you want to receive bytes to your wallet, you simply click the receive button. It then produces a QR code, and I can just send from my mobile wallet using that QR code. And I'll be sending 2 megabytes. And I need to type in my password. There we go. Wrong password. Just a second. I have fat fingers and it's late in the evening here in Denmark. There we go. And immediately you'll see that it pops up in my history that I received 2000 kilobytes. And that's because I chose the setting for my wallet to show the unit for bytes in kilobytes. If I change it to megabytes, it'll of course show that I now own 2 megabytes. Another quite practical thing about Obyte is that even though the payment is now pending confirmation, I'm actually able to use unconfirmed bytes. Of course, if the confirmation doesn't happen at some point, the transaction I make using these unconfirmed bytes will be invalid, and it won't work. But in a lot of use cases, this actually is a quite nice feature, because it allows me to send my bytes to one wallet and immediately send it to another one, or to an exchange, or to a use case, an autonomous agent, etc., etc. I'll cover
Hey,
autonomous.
Casper, we
Yeah,
have a question
yeah.
from
Question.
it's about what's the name of
What is
the
the
backup
backup
file?
file called? The file
Yes.
index is called .encrypted. It has the name. I think the name of is the date it was created. Actually, I can just try to create a backup right now, and we can see it. Backup all wallet data. Compress the file. That's probably not needed. I haven't made a lot of transactions yet, and it will be called Obyte backup and the date it was created. The file ending will be called .encrypted. So yeah. Now that I have bytes, if there are any further questions about the backup process, oh yeah, I should probably show you that if I want to restore a backed up wallet, I can simply install a fresh wallet on any device, go to the settings menu, back down to the backups section, and then I can click restore all wallet data. And I choose the file. Sorry for the Danish. This is picked up from the operating system. But I pick the file, find my backup file, restore that, and my wallet will be returned to the state it had when I backed it up. All right, on to the send section. And as you can see, it actually has quite a lot of little links and different buttons here. First, you'd want to select what you want to send. The Obyte platform is a token platform as well. So if you have any tokens that were issued on the Obyte platform, you'll be able to select it here. It shows you all the different types of assets you have in your wallet at the time you click the send button. You can also send data into data feeds. You can send text files. You can create a poll, etc., etc. I'll leave you to figure out all of these different things for yourself. Right now, we'll just do a simple transaction using bytes. I can choose the amount, but before I do that, I'll show you that I can select a recipient by clicking this button here. I have my new wallet, meaning that the different wallets I have on this device, I can transfer funds easily without copy pasting addresses and stuff like that. Also, you'll notice that I have an address book right here. And for purposes that will become clear later on, I have one entry called Barbarico's Lottery. I'll be using that a little bit later. But I can also just type in a wallet address. It doesn't make a lot of sense, so I'll just pick my new wallet, and you can see it automatically inserts my address here. Another quite interesting feature, if I don't know if the recipient I'm going to send bytes to has an Obyte wallet installed, or if I don't know his wallet address, I can instead create a message, share via message. This is what is called a text coin. It actually creates a new wallet, includes the private key to the wallet, and sends all of that onto the recipient. So the recipient will get a wallet with a key to it and with the bytes on it. And I'll try to do that. I'll send 1 megabyte to share via message. I'll type my password. Not enough. I need to switch on. Spend unconfirmed funds. I went into the settings to switch this on. Once it's switched on, I will be able to spend bytes that are still pending confirmation. Again, type 1 megabyte, share via message. Please approve it on the other. Of course, I'm using the multi, so I'm actually getting prompted right now on my other device to confirm it, and I need to sign the spending request on the other device. This can actually be an interesting feature, these multi-signature wallets. If I have a chatbot where I want the chatbot to confirm every transaction made from wallets that the chatbot is a party of. It creates a lot of really interesting features, and I'll not delve too much into that. It can get quite complex if you want it to. But right now, the text coin has been created, and if people are fast, I'll just leave it in the chat, I think. People who already have the Obyte wallet installed can click that link, and they'll automatically be taken to the obyte.org website where they can sweep the text coin I just created. People familiar with the mnemonic words of the Bitcoin wallets will probably remember these words. It's the same Bitcoin improvement proposal, BIP 39, the same seed words used in the Obyte wallet. So as you can see, I just send away 1 megabyte, and I had to pay fees for that. So right now I have not 1 megabyte left, but 0.99948 megabytes left. So it's clear that I paid some transaction fees for that. I just clicked the history tab just to show that every transaction I made, the funds I receive and the funds I sent in the screen, I can always find them here. It has this little text coin icon. I can click it, and then I can see whether someone has claimed it. Right now, it's not confirmed. The transaction isn't final yet, but people can still claim the text coin even though it isn't confirmed yet. If the confirmation fails, the bytes will of course not arrive eventually. If the recipient, if I send it through email or anything else, and the recipient never claims it, it's quite easy actually for me to claim it back. I simply click this button here, claim it back, and then I will claim it back. I can share it again if I forgot the seed words, and for security reasons, or if I use it to create a paper wallet, I can erase the text coin. Every data about the text coin will be erased from this device. I'll just leave it here because someone might already have picked it up in the chat. All right, that was the text coins. A last thing. If I just want to send away all bytes in the wallet, I just click this link and it automatically selects all minus fees, so I don't have to figure out how much I can send while still keeping enough for fees. It'll completely empty the wallet. The final feature I'll be showing here is switch to multi-address. And that's quite interesting as well. Instead of typing a recipient, I can type wallet addresses like you can see in the example. And after that, I type a comma and then insert the amount of megabytes I want to send. Megabytes because I chose to use megabytes in my wallet now. So I can send one transaction with several different recipients, recipient addresses in the transaction. I can also send data. I'll cover this in a while when I cover the more advanced features interacting with chatbots and the autonomous agents. In the history, you'll also be able to see a link. If you click this link, it'll open a browser tab showing you the transaction on the Obyte Explorer, whether it's confirmed. You can basically see all the data being posted into the public ledger. All right, that's about it for sending. If I want to receive, yeah, you just saw that. I can give someone this address and receive funds on it, or I can show the device, or I can actually copy paste this image and print it and hand it out as a physical card. I can have this on my business card if I'd like to. And moving on to the more advanced features. Interacting with chatbots. That's an entire chapter of its own. In the chat section, the same place where I add new devices or remove new devices, I have this tab called Bot Store. And even though it's called a store, you don't have to worry about you paying for anything. It's just like the App Store, where you of course can pay, but you also just have all these different apps to choose from. The bot store, it's called bot and chat bots because the Obyte wallet introduces this conversational interface. So the best way to show it is let's see if I can find something interesting. Sports betting. Let's try that. I simply click the name of the bot I wanted to add. I can see a short description of it, who developed it, and I can click add. This is actually creating a wallet pairing or device pairing between me and the actual use case. I can set my language. I'll choose English. And I simply do this by clicking the links that the chatbot displays. Language set as English. Okay. And then it works just like a chat. So people are familiar with Messenger or WhatsApp and what's all the different names, or text messages even. So it's quite easy for users, even users that aren't familiar with cryptocurrencies at all, to interact with things and chatbots through the Obyte wallet. And you don't have to worry about anyone creating malicious chatbots. The features available to the developers are somewhat limited. You can actually do pretty much anything, but the chatbot developer will never be able to access your wallet. It will only be able to receive what you send to it. So If I, for instance, choose to insert my address, it doesn't understand it. It just shows another message. I can type anything here, and it will just show a message because it doesn't understand that. If I click any of the links, say Everton FC, I'll just click this, and I can then choose a predefined amount of bytes to bet, or I can type an amount myself. As you can see, 1 megabyte is the equivalent of $0.02. I could click 1, and then it will ask me, because it doesn't know anything about me or my device, it asks me to say, okay, in case you win, I need to know where to send the bytes to. So I then insert my wallet address, and it shows the name of my wallet here, so I don't accidentally paste the address of a different wallet. And it prepares a contract. And this leads us on to the smart contracts of the Obyte wallet. People often confuse smart contracts with what's generally called smart contracts on Ethereum, the dApps, decentralized applications. And a smart contract is basically a smart contract. A contract has two parties, one with obligations, the other with liabilities. And this contract can be enforced on the Obyte ledger. So a smart contract is simply a defined set of rules oh, I was in the middle of a send here in this wallet. I'll switch to the other one, chat, go back and click refresh, click an odds, click the amount again, and then insert the correct wallet, my new wallet. There we go. And the payment request is here. And here I can actually, in somewhat human readable language, read the conditions of when am I allowed to use funds that are on this smart contract. A smart contract is actually a shared wallet between several devices. In this case, I can see the rules for when a given device is allowed to spend funds from the shared wallet. So right now, a wallet is being created between the chatbot of the sports betting bot and my device. We both have access to this wallet. We both transfer the amount that we bet into this wallet, and the rules now describes who can withdraw the funds from this wallet and what are the conditions. As you can see, it's based on an oracle. Right now, this oracle just has a wallet address. It might in the future have actual names, verified oracle names, so making it a bit easier to spot if a different oracle is being used. And it has to post. This is the match, and it has apparently I betted on Everton, I think. And if I can only spend, of course, if I also send 1 megabyte, because I have to send my part of the bargain to the contract for it to become an actual contract. The sports betting bot will be able to withdraw if I don't send any funds, or if the oracle posts anything else but Everton. Or yeah, it basically just stacks up all these conditions. So I can choose to accept it and send the payment, or I can decline it and simply just simply not send the transaction. Another thing that you actually are able to do directly is, if you click the contacts, I do have a wallet pairing right now with my mobile device. And if I use the chat from my mobile device to insert my address. The address will show as a link in my other device here. This could, of course, be someone else. I can then click it, and I can offer a contract. The Obyte wallet actually allows human beings to create smart contracts. This is quite an interesting feature. You always see these scammers trying to say, "Oh, I'll buy your bytes for twice the amount it's worth. You should just send the bytes here, and I'll transfer the typically a BTC to this address." And you can see the BTC is actually there, and then they point to some fake site or a fake escrow service that they control. By using this, you can actually use the Obyte wallet to create an atomic swap. So either both parties complete their end of the deal, meaning that the BTC gets transferred to an address that you desire, and you transfer the bytes to an address that you agree on. So let's see what I can do. It's again relatively human readable language. I can transfer 50 megabyte, and if the peer pays 1 megabyte to this contract, if the peer doesn't pay, I can take the money back after 4 hours. I can choose the peer. I or the peer can unlock the contract if an event is posted by an oracle, and I can actually choose a Bitcoin oracle. So if this is called Bitcoin Oracle root, I think it was called that. Expected value. I don't know the exact values to look for, but it allows me to actually create contract that makes me certain that I will receive the BTC. I won't be able to withdraw my 50 megabytes until either 4 hours has passed, or I can withdraw. He can withdraw 50 megabytes once the transaction of BTC has been made to me. The peer can unlock the contract, and it expires after 7 days, and so on and so forth. This is a template. Using chatbots, you can construct these conditions in a much more complex way. This is just a template. And apart from these smart contracts, you can also interact with autonomous agents. And the way you do so is to simply, you can see right now, I actually have 1.1 megabyte in smart wallet. If I click this, you can see the different sub wallets. This is my main wallet, and underneath that I have this smart contract that I just engaged in with the betting bot. So I can return to this. I can see that I have this amount in the shared wallet, and if I click this little eye icon here, I can go in and revisit the conditions that needs to be true before I can send. If I try to send funds from it, I'll usually send all, and I'll send it to my main address. If I try to do it, type the password, I'm pretty sure I won't be allowed. Yeah, could not send payment. Check that the smart contract conditions are satisfied and signatures are correct. Of course, the game probably hasn't been played yet, so therefore I am not able to spend the funds yet. Once the game has been played, the Oracle has posted the result data into the public ledger. The conditions will then be met, and I will be able to send funds away from this sub wallet.
Hey Casper, we
Yeah.
have a question now. So it's from Daniel, and he says, "What is a prosaic contract?"
Yes.
You show it when.
Okay. Yeah, I can actually. Let's see here. Of a prosaic contract, it's basically it's more like a real world contract where you have two parties negotiating. There are rules that need to be fulfilled in order for it to become a legal contract between two parties. And one of those rules is that you have to be able to suggest changes to a contract that the other one is then presented with. And if he chooses to decline it, he can then offer new conditions and turn it back. And the negotiation can go back and forth as much as you want. Um, so a prosaic contract is actually literally a text contract. This is the text that we'll agree on, uh, title of the contract, when it for how long this offer. Usually I don't want people to return to me 15 years later saying, oh, but you offered me this. So offered contracts always have to have an expiration date, and this is measured in hours in this case. So this is basically what smart contract or prosaic contracts is all about. It's probably not something that most people will use, but it's an interesting feature for at least some use cases that need to have some kind of provenance or proof that an agreement has been entered between two parties. It can be used with real name attested. The Obyte wallet also has, as you can see here, insert my private profile. Self-sovereign identity management is also built into the wallet. There's a real name attester. Actually, there's several different attestation providers. We have used Jumio. It's the same that's being used by EasyJet and 888.com and Airbnb and stuff like that. Once I verify my identity, that's a process that happens on their website. They will post back the data that they verified. Usually I need to take a picture of my passport and do a selfie, or they'll do a video call or something like that. And all the details that are then verified by them will be stored in my wallet here. Uh, and that enables me to share either my entire private identity or parts of it. An example could be that if I wanted to interact with a vending machine offering alcoholic beverage, and in the country I live, you need to be I can't actually remember, I'm that old. I think you need to be 18 to buy strong alcohol. So in order to prove that I'm over 18, the vending machine wouldn't necessarily have to know my name or my whether I used a passport or my birth certificate number or anything else. It just needs to know what is my birth date, and then it can calculate my age. So I would insert my private profile, but only reveal my birth date. And that would be the only thing it saw. It can verify that the birth date it received came from a verified profile. So in particularly in cases, most European countries have these GDPR rules where you basically aren't allowed to store any data about anyone. This is a super easy way to handle it. Simply leave the data with the users. You won't have any Cambridge Analytica scandals either. It's all the users' own data. They only share what they need to share and what you need in order to complete your use case. And in the vending machine offering alcoholic beverages, the need would be to share my birth date, and it could verify that I'm allowed to legally purchase alcoholic beverages from the vending machine. Stuff like that can be easily integrated with the wallet. And the main point, it was Luke on the chat right now. The main point of a prosaic contract is to get signatures of each party of the textual agreement. Yeah, as I said, it's about conditions being negotiated back and forth, and eventually, when both parties agree, they will sign the contract, and they can do so. That's the reason I shared the identity part here. So I can actually sign using my wallet with a a verified identity. So it will become a legal contract. Of course, Obyte cannot enforce it. It'll have to, if it ever came to, it could be uh, an agreement between me and my brother that I'm going to sell him a pair of shoes. Of course, Obyte and the distributed ledger won't necessarily, either way, it won't necessarily know about whether or not I actually gave him the shoes or whether or not he actually gave me the payment, but we'll have a contract, a legally binding contract that I can then take to my courtrooms here in Denmark. Probably not do so with my brother over a pair of shoes, but uh, I would actually have a case because it would be a validly signed contract between a legal entity and another legal entity. Um, so it's an easier way to make sure that a real person that you're going to enter an agreement with actually signs his agreement. The final part I'll be covering is the autonomous agents. Vending machine example represents a zero knowledge proof, which only requires verified ID to be linked to the proof of age. Yeah, that's correct. It's called a lot of different things, self-sovereign identity management, and the actual verification is the zero knowledge proof. I only need to verify that this date came from an actually verified profile. I don't need the rest of the data to be able to verify that the birth date you gave me is in fact a real verified identity. And the prosaic contract for shoes or other purposes has the legal enforceability between if it has been tested. Not yet, not that I'm aware of, but it's created according to the specifications in, and now you catch me a bit off guard. It's called some long sequence of letters and numbers. It's not the ISO standards. It's something else. I can't remember the name right now. At least as long as those standards describe a legal enforceable contract between two parties, then this will hold up as a legal contract as well. Any further questions about the smart contracts, the prosaic contracts? All right, I'll be moving on to the autonomous agents then. Nick has a further question. Would it be useful to actually create a precedent in case law? I don't know. It could be probably, I think it could be verified by a legal company that it is in fact a legally binding contract. But the problem would be that if I do a contract between me here in Denmark and someone in Zimbabwe, I'm pretty sure we have quite different legal rules and laws and stuff like that. So what is a legal contract in my country might not be a legal contract in another country. So I can check up on the actual standard that the prosaic contracts follows, and it'll probably be possible to find a list of countries in which any contract under that standard is considered a legally binding contract. Can a contract have more than two parties? Smart contracts definitely can. I'm not sure about the prosaic contracts because that needs to be passed back and forth between two parties. So I think a prosaic contracts only have two parties, and the smart contracts can have any amount of parties. You can even have a third party creating the smart contract between two other parties. So it creates a wallet that it isn't a party of itself. It's quite a useful feature actually to be able to create these smart contracts between other parties. The prosaic contract could include the condition that the contract can be settled according to the laws of state X or Y, for example. Yeah, and you're totally right about that. And usually contracts always defines the jurisdiction under which it's valid. but still, if I enter a contract, this is a distributed ledger, so it allows me to enter contracts with anyone anywhere in the world easily. And even though a contract says that the other party, in case of a breach, needs to come to my country to be prosecuted, I'm not sure all countries will abide to that. I'm definitely sure there will be some countries where you don't have any kind of obligations to hand over criminals to other countries. All right, I'll move on now to the autonomous
Another
agents.
question here
Uh,
from Jen. So, what are the requirements of an oracle? I mean, to develop an oracle.
Basically, there's no requirements at all. You have to create. Usually, you would use a headless wallet, and you feed data into the ledger. Of course, you will need the other party of a contract that you offer to trust that the oracle is providing valid data. You could create an autonomous agent actually that sort of aggregates data feeds from several different oracles operated by several different. It could be verified identities. So in case someone provides tampered data from the oracle, you would actually know who did it. So there isn't any requirement for Oracle operators to verify or to even be known identities. But as if I was part of one of the contracts, I'd definitely be looking into who is running that particular Oracle that will post the data feed that will resolve one or more of the conditions in the smart contract I'm entering. So there aren't any obligations. Anyone can create these oracles. You can create it on weather data or whatever data you find interesting from the outside world, and you can post it to the Obyte ledger. The transaction fees are historically low, so it's more or less free to actually just start posting data into the ledger, and you can start using that data in smart contracts. I think we should probably cover smart contracts in a later talk because it's a really huge topic and you can create rather complex conditions. You can base it on data provided from oracles. You can actually you can act as an oracle yourself. Let me just show you here. If I just cancel this transaction, instead of bytes, I can choose to send data into a data feed. And I could say, in the example before, if I could remember Everton, let's say it's Liverpool, and the date was something something. I could act as an oracle, a manual oracle, and say Liverpool won. Of course, I have no clue if Liverpool would be able to beat Everton, or if the EVE is even Everton. But I can just post a data feed uh, like this, and I could not. I don't have any funds on this address. Let me just quickly switch to the other one that has funds on it. I can send, choose data into data feed. Casper wins. Send this, enter my password, and then I need no funded addresses on that one either. Post values into data feed. I don't have any. I don't have any bytes left. Let me check the other one. Oh, laptop and phone. I need to use this one. Data into data feed. Once again, Casper wins, and choose the password. And then I need to again prove, because I'm making a transaction from a shared wallet. So I need to approve it from the other device. There we go. And in my history tab, I can now say, I'll just try to show you that I can actually now see this transaction, the data feed, Casper, and the value wins. So the data is now actually posted. I acted as an oracle, a manual oracle. Obviously, you wouldn't normally rely on manual oracles, but for some use cases, it could actually make sense. It could be that someone had to confirm something that would resolve a condition between two other parties and stuff like that. So that is pretty much it. Moving on to the final thing about the autonomous agents. And to interact with an autonomous agent, you need to know the address it has. You can pick it up. There's a website called Made on Obyte. You can find different use cases in there, different autonomous agents. You can find chatbots and stuff like that, but also you can just monitor there's a channel on the Discord called Autonomous Agents, and the developers that creates these autonomous agents, they post usually their addresses in the channel there. An autonomous agent is a piece of code that is posted to the Obyte ledger. So once it's deployed, no one can control it, change it, or anything else. It acts only according to the rules it was created with. And that's quite interesting because it enables a lot of different features, particularly in decentralized finance, where you wouldn't want anyone to have access to sensible data or to tamper with data or suddenly change the rules in the game. So for a lot of reasons, you would want these autonomous agents to handle cases where you really don't want to need to trust anyone else. And for this, I actually stored in my address book for this use, Barbarico's lottery. I can then, once I click it, it automatically knows because it checks the autonomous agent on the public ledger. And I can, before I even send anything to it, I can see the result. What will the result be if I send 0.01 megabyte to this autonomous agent? All autonomous agents will always provide the solution or the result if you do post to it. If, for instance, I post 0, it even knows that I'm not supposed to post 0. If I post too little, minimum amount. So all the rules are basically publicly available on the ledger, and the wallet can pick up these rules and the conditions, and it can then show me what will the result be. In this case, a variable which is my address will be set to, and this is today, and these are two variables that will be needed. Variable tickets sold, it's a lottery, so sending 0.01 will buy me one ticket. Let's see what happens if I change this. I haven't sent anything yet, but if I check now, I actually change it. Wait a minute. 0.02. Oh, it doesn't work. That's odd. Well, I'll just leave it at the default amount. Choose the address book again. And I should be able to send this. That's really odd. Well, the Oracle, the autonomous agent or the wallet I'm using right now might not be able to interact with this autonomous agent right now. For some inexplicable reason, it worked earlier today. So I guess if if both Apple and Tesla learned the hard way not to showcase anything live, I guess I'm next in line not to compare myself with Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, of course. For some reason, it doesn't work right now. I'll just try replacing the address. Not valid. Oh, I'm just going to pick up the address here. Daily draw, deploy with the parent, send bytes to AA address. I probably stored the wrong address. I actually did that once before. And let's see. 0.01, not valid. Is it because it uses Danish character sets or anything? No. Anyways, I would really have loved to show how these autonomous agents works. Apparently, I can't get it to work right now, but not to worry. I'll be able to show you. Um, you can come to Discord. You can even meet Barbarico, who created the um, the chat, the autonomous agent in there as well. So I guess I will be covering both the smart contracts, the more complex smart contracts, as well as a working example of autonomous agents in a later episode of this Obyte talk. Are there any questions left for today? There's a suggestion from Daniel on how to send all. Doesn't actually do anything right now. I don't know. So it doesn't work right now, but at least I got to show you that the wallet is actually able to show the result even before posting the transaction. Another thing with autonomous agents, they only act on confirmed transactions. So you won't be able to have an autonomous agent do the action it's created to do instantly once you send the transaction. Only the second that your transaction becomes stable will the actual autonomous agent execute on the transaction you send to it. All right. If there are no further questions, I think we'll wrap it up. It already got quite a bit long, far over an hour already. But thank you everyone who joined us this evening, and thanks for listening. We will be distributing, it'll be chopped, this Obyte talk will be chopped up into several pieces so we can use it as quick tutorials or guides. So the section on installation, the section on creating wallets, and the section on wallet settings, they will be made available on our YouTube channel after they've been chopped up. So keep track of the Discord channel. Oh, there's
Just a last question here
final
from Daniel.
question. Yeah, coming back to wallets, what are the advantages of multi-address wallets? Why were they created? Um, multi-address wallets are somewhat more difficult to track. If I send one transaction out and the two recipients, of which I am one of them, you wouldn't necessarily be able to know exactly which address is me and which is the recipient. So it makes it a bit more difficult to track. Of course, there are these companies specializing in analyzing these data, and they will somehow be able to sort of track which of the two outputs is likely to become yours. If you have, for instance, 10 gigabyte on one address, you would rarely send 9 gigabytes, 9.885 gigabytes to someone else, and then only return 1 gigabyte to yourself in change. Usually you would see that the smaller amount is the one being sent to the other party. But it makes it a bit more difficult to track. But if you want privacy, you should really consider using black bytes instead. They are completely it's only transacted peer to peer with only a spent proof of a spent UTXO on the ledger. So it's completely anonymous, and you won't be able to know who received anything, because it's transacted completely peer to peer, and that's also the reason you cannot trade black bytes on any exchanges at all, because that would centralize it, and it would leave the exchange in a position where they could actually start seeing who were transacting to and from the exchange. So black bytes, completely traceless. And I think with that, we'll wrap up tonight's talk. Thank you so much for joining, everyone, and stay tuned. We'll definitely do more of these talks in the near future. Have a nice summer, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.